Hello, and welcome to Podcast Growth Tactics by Potter, your essential guide to elevating your podcasting journey. We're the people behind Potter, a premier podcast analytics and enrichment platform. Whether you're a podcasting pro or just hitting record for the first time, we're here to arm you with practical tips and innovative strategies. From email marketing and SEO to interviews, paid ads, and beyond, we've got you covered. Plus, we'll help you fine-tune your show, connect with your audience, and craft content that truly resonates. Our insights are grounded in data. With over 1 billion data points from podcasts across the globe, we're privy to what truly works in the podcasting universe. Before we kick off, we'd like to share a unique aspect of our podcast. This show is AI generated based on insights found from the Potter team. We're embracing the power of technology to bring you the most relevant and actionable podcasting insights. If you enjoy our show, we'd be thrilled if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, or your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback fuels our growth and helps us reach more podcasters like you. Now, let's dive into today's episode and explore the power of storytelling and how to effectively weave it into your podcast narratives. Storytelling is an ancient art, an integral part of our human history. It's also a powerful tool in podcasting. A study by Johns Hopkins University indicates that the structure of a story might be even more critical than the content itself. Interesting, isn't it? That's because stories can alter our behavior by reshaping our brain chemistry, effectively becoming a vehicle for transmitting emotion and information. So, if you're a podcaster, it's essential to realize that you wield a mighty tool: your words. Your episodes can change how your listeners think, feel, and behave. So, each episode you create should follow a storytelling structure. But how exactly do we do that? That's what we're here to explore today. Let's start with the beginning, the critical moment where you either capture your listener's attention or lose it. It's the hook. The first few sentences of your podcast should jolt your listeners awake, coaxing them into wanting to listen more. This could be a mind-boggling fact about your topic, an intriguing question that compels them to think, or a dramatic statement that triggers their curiosity. If, say, your podcast focuses on climate change, you might want to start with a hair-raising statistic about the alarming rate of global warming. Alternatively, if you're podcasting about personal development, you might kick off with a reflective question like, if you had a magic wand, what's the one thing you would change about your life? An engaging hook keeps your listeners on their toes, makes them think, and most importantly, makes them want to stick around for more. Moving on, let's talk about structure. Like a well-crafted book or a captivating movie, your podcast should have a clear beginning, middle, and end. The beginning sets the stage, introducing the main characters, setting, or themes. The middle plunges into the heart of the story, developing it with conflict, tension, and complexity. And finally, the end wraps up the narrative, offering a satisfying resolution to the story. This narrative arc engages your listeners and makes your podcast more memorable. Remember, no one likes a story with loose ends. Now, as we all know, the devil's in the details. Vivid descriptions are your friends. They breathe life into your narrative, creating images that linger in your listeners' minds, making your story more engaging and memorable. Don't just narrate the event. Paint a picture with your words. Take them on a journey with you. For instance, if you're recounting a trip you took, don't just say, "I went to Paris." Let them taste the croissants, hear the bustling traffic, and feel the cobblestones under their feet. Your words should evoke emotions and kindle imaginations. What makes a story truly captivating? Its personal touch. Personal anecdotes can build a robust connection between you and your audience. Don't shy away from sharing your own experiences, thoughts, and emotions. If you're talking about entrepreneurship, sharing your journey, your struggles, and victories can make the conversation more authentic and relatable. Listeners feel more invested when they sense the human behind the microphone. While diving into the details, let's not lose sight of simplicity. Although it's crucial to provide comprehensive and accurate information, it's equally vital to keep your language and explanations simple and digestible. No one likes a podcast that sounds like a cryptic textbook. Avoid jargon that may alienate your listeners. Remember, your aim is not to parade your vocabulary, but to communicate effectively with your audience. If you're discussing a complex concept, break it down. Use simple words or analogies to help your listeners understand. All right, let's take a moment to talk about the listeners, the heart of your podcast. Understanding your audience is pivotal for successful storytelling. Different personality types resonate with varying types of content and storytelling techniques. Your cheerful listeners might enjoy a lighthearted narrative filled with humor, while your imaginative listeners may appreciate a creative storytelling approach with thought-provoking topics. Understanding these preferences can help you tailor your content for maximum engagement. Tools like Potter's Audience Personality Assessment can come in handy here, providing in-depth insights into your audience's personality traits and preferred content. Let's dive into some storytelling techniques for different personality types. Suppose your audience is primarily cheerful. They'd appreciate positive messaging, humor, and heartwarming stories. Start with a hook that sets a positive tone. Make them laugh, make them feel good. Use vivid descriptions to make your story more engaging and memorable, and keep your language simple and optimistic. On the other hand, if your listeners are gregarious, they'd love engaging conversations, dynamic energy, and diverse topics. An interview with interesting personalities would pique their interest. Use a hook that invites participation or kindles curiosity. And what about imaginative listeners? Well, they love it when their minds are stimulated with creative storytelling and thought-provoking subjects. Metaphors, analogies, and rich descriptions would draw them in. Start with a hook that sparks curiosity, and use simple language to ensure your ideas are easily grasped. For active listeners who prefer fast-paced, exciting content, you might want to consider creating interactive segments that encourage participation. Set an energetic tone right from the start, and maintain a fast pace throughout your narrative. Finally, for self-conscious listeners who appreciate a calming and introspective atmosphere, consider incorporating mindfulness techniques into your podcast. Use a soothing hook and create a peaceful ambiance with vivid, comforting descriptions. By tailoring your content to your audience's personality traits, you can significantly boost your podcast's engagement. This involves adjusting the tone, pace, and subject matter of your podcast to better suit your audience. If they're primarily active, focus on providing quick-paced, thrilling content. If they're mostly imaginative, prioritize creative, thought-provoking content. This personalized approach can deepen your connection with your audience, making them feel seen, heard, and valued. And that brings us to the end of this episode, folks. Remember, storytelling isn't just about narrating events, it's about painting pictures with words, connecting with your listeners, and providing an experience that is both entertaining and enlightening. So the next time you hit that record button, take a moment to think about your story's structure, its vivid details, the personal touch you can add, and most importantly, how your audience would prefer to hear it. As you master these techniques, you'll be on your way to creating podcasts that not only inform, but also inspire. Thank you so much for tuning in to Podcast Growth Tactics by Potter. I'll be back next week with more insights and tips to help you level up your podcasting skills. Until then, keep podcasting, keep storytelling, and above all, keep inspiring. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podchaser, or your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but it also helps other podcasters discover our show. For more insights and data-driven strategies, don't forget to check out Potter, your premier podcast analytics and enrichment platform.